Peace, everybody. This is TalibahAset. I see an L, the Money Metaphysician from Augusta, Georgia. And today, my topic is about radical transformation, the way to abundance and freedom. But before I get started, I got to show y'all these cards. Like, these are the cutest things. I found them in some store on Hilton Head. But you know that I got them just because they're gold, right? So, grab them. So, y'all got to see these. So, they're too cute. Look at these. I was kind of mad because they got like the $100 bill on the back because why would you want a $100 bill in gold? They should just had a bar. Are these things so cute? They're like super, super cute. Anyway, I had to show y'all those. That's what I got over the weekend while I was in Hilton Head. And now I'm going to talk to you guys about radical transformation because, believe it or not, we are already like a little bit over halfway through January 2020, right? And it's interesting that the U.S. News and World Report put out a statistic, and the statistic says that the failure rate of New Year's resolutions is about 80%, and most people lose their resolve. Most people lose their resolve around the middle of February. So what that means is statistically, those who have made New Year's resolutions, statistically, there's about another 2 weeks left before they just give up and just go back to their old way of being, right? And so I found that interesting. So I actually believe that, you know, from a metaphysical standpoint and just from, you know, just knowing what I know, that there's a reason that many people fail to keep their resolutions. And one of those reasons is that to a large degree, your New Year's resolutions are just lip service to a large degree. For the most part, we make resolutions as a matter of tradition because it's the words that you say because of the tradition of the New Year, right? And that's not to say that I don't think that people really do want to have more, do more, and be more. I firmly believe that I have to because that's the reason I do what I do. I do what I do because I believe that people want to have more, be more, and do more. And my work is to help them do that, you know. And so I just believe that there's a funny thing about words because that's the thing. New Year's resolutions that we make in January, they're for the most part, they're just words. It's a funny thing about words, and I actually love words. I'm a writer and a speaker, so the words are like my life. I'm a word dealer. That's what I do. But it's funny because in and of themselves, words are, they have very little meaning. You know, you heard the saying that says talk is cheap. Well, to a large degree it is because words are, for the most part, inert. Let me explain what I mean when I say that. What I mean is the word water can't make you wet. That word, you can't get wet from the word water. And you can't get burned from the word fire, right? And the word money, no matter how many times I say the word money, it will not make you wealthy. I can sit here and say money all day, but just saying the word is not going to make you wealthy, right? So to a large degree, these words are just words, right? Fire won't burn you. Water won't make you wet. The word money won't make you wealthy, no matter how many times you say it. Fire, water, or money, in order to be truly understood, have to be experienced. You can't understand water as if you experience being wet. You have to understand what water is because you have experienced being wet. You understand what fire is because you have experienced its heat. So, understanding that there has to be an experience to truly understand the meaning of the word, What is your experience with money then? You know, what has been your money experience? Well, if you're like most people, the 99%, right? Then your money experience has probably, for the most part, been lack of, not enough of, or chasing it. Like you've never experienced the abundant side of it. So that's your understanding, right? Because your understanding comes from your experience. It is the same way that understanding the heat, feeling the heat, or experiencing the heat helps you understand fire, and feeling wet or experience wet helps you understand the word water. In the same way, your understanding of the word, or your experience with money, or your understanding of money, has to be related to whatever that experience has been. So if your experience has been lack rather than abundance, or chasing rather than attracting, then that is your understanding when it comes down to wealth, right? So today, if you will allow me to, I want to say some words to you. And these words are with the intention of helping you to, or leading you to a direct experience. Not to just say some words just for you to hear, but actually to lead you to a direct experience. Because you can understand, one of my mentors, Mr. TalibahAset, always says that a theory is never going to be as powerful as an experience. An experience is always going to be more powerful than a theory. And so I can tell you something all day long, until you experience it, you're not going to really have the full understanding of what I'm talking about. And so, I got my notes over here, so keep looking down. I'm going to find me something to keep from looking at these notes, but I have so much to say. If what I say here in this video resonates with you, then what I would hope, or what would be very likely, is that you will act on that resonance, or you will act on what you hear. In fact, I'm just going to directly request it. If what I'm saying here today resonates with you, then take action. No, just sit there and hear it. And then if it doesn't resonate with you, then just don't do nothing. Don't do anything. But as always, my mission is that anybody who I come in contact with, whether it's through video or in person on the phone or whatever, is either elevated or left where they are, but that no person is diminished in their being by their interaction with me. And that has always been, for the last 10, 15 years, that's been my mission. Is I'm going to elevate you or leave you where you are, that nobody is going to be diminished by hearing what I have to say. So in your own life, you're basically going to see what you tell yourself to see. That's what you're going to see. Nothing I can say, nothing I can do, nothing I can tell you can really change that. All I can do is really present you with a new idea, give you some information, and maybe tell you what my own experience has been through the application of what I'm telling you. But that's it. In the end, it's going to have to be you. It's going to be you who is going to decide whether or not the information or ideas that you're being presented with are going to help you create it, or you're going to use those to create a new narrative for yourself. This is your story. You're the author of the story. You're writing it. And all that the new information can do when it's presented to you is either help you choose. But at the end of the day, the choice is always going to be yours. If you're someone, for example, here's what I mean. Okay, if you're a person who believes strongly in scarcity and lack and need and all of that, not having enough, if that's all you ever think about and all you ever talk about and all you ever, that's your energy, the energy field around you, then nothing I can say is going to change that, right? So you're going to believe that, and then you're going to act on that belief. And when you act on that belief, you're going to create a situation where there's scarcity, so that becomes your experience, and it reinforces the belief. And you say, well, if I could be wealthy, I'll believe it when I see it. But the truth is, you're seeing what you're seeing because that is what you believe. You don't believe, you don't see what you don't believe after you see what you believe, right? So you're going to be always creating that. So nothing I'm going to be able to say to you today is going to change that belief until you decide. If you decide to take the information and use that information to create for yourself something different, then that's you that's done it. But if you decide to reject it, then it's also you that's done it. So, that's the thing, that you have to understand, that you, at the end of the day, no matter what I say, you're going to be the one that decides whether or not it is of value to you, and if it's going to help you to change the narrative or the story that you feel you need to tell yourself, right? So if you are a person who believes in scarcity, your experience is likely going to be scarcity because you're going to act on that belief. In the same vein, if you are a person who believes in abundance and you believe that the world is an abundant place, you're going to create that. And then that's going to be your experience. That's what you're going to see because you're going to create it. There is enough in the world for everybody. There's no lack because the divine does not create lack. The divine doesn't create limits or restrictions. People do. Restrictions, limits, boundaries, things like that are human constructs. The divine has no... Just think about it. Look at the ocean. The ocean sits where it is, and the tide comes in, tide goes out. And the land just continues on where the ocean leaves off. There's not a limit. There's not a wall up there that divides the land from, the ocean. It just goes on. There's no boundaries. Birds fly south for the winter. They don't have to get passports. They just fly. They go. They don't have a boundary. They don't have a construct that says, oh, you can only go this far. They just do what they do. And we don't have those kind of restrictions either. The divine is forever giving. The divine doesn't take anything from you or keep anything from you. You, by your thoughts and beliefs, either you accept or receive what's being given, or you are rejecting or resisting it. And the funny thing about it is, anything that comes in your experience because you called it. So anything that you come in contact with, this video, somebody saying something, a Facebook post, a stop sign, police stop you, anything, all of that stuff comes to you because you have called it to be. You call that into your experience. And then when you call into your experience because you're not engaged, divinely engaged, you just resist. You resist it from yourself from seeing it. Or so if you operate from scarcity, or what I call a fear-based consciousness, you're going to reject every opportunity for wealth and abundance because you believe that the world is a scarce place. It's funny. People with scarce mindsets that scratch lottery tickets are so funny to me. You don't believe that the world is an abundant place, but you're chasing money. You should just not chase anything because you don't believe you don't believe in abundance. And so you're going to reject it from yourself every single time, right? Sometimes what's going to be required, though, is this stretching. There's a stretching of the mind, or a stepping out of your comfort zone, or a mental leap that you have to take, to even be able to hear a new idea that's being presented to you. You can't even hear it because sometimes the new idea is such a radical thing that, oh, thank you, Dor. You know something? I have a friend. I have to give you her information, but her name is Sheila Ramsey. That's where I get all my rings from. I go get rings from her every week. So thank you. I would intended to shout her out too. Thank you so much. You are the best thing, Dora. So if you choose to take the information that I share with you, and you choose to apply it, then your life is never going to be the same. You're going to experience a life that you never have experienced before, because you've chosen to step out of your comfort zone and apply the things that I'm saying to you today. But the fact is that New Year's resolutions really do fail, because transformation itself is radical. It's a radical thing. It's not something that you can just say I'm going to do and then it just happens. You have to understand that transformation, it requires a knowing. It requires a knowing that deep down inside that you're not just the physical body, right? You are a sentient being. You are a divine essence, whatever or however you want to put it. It comes down to knowing that you're just not this hunk of chunk of meat and bone and sinew and flesh and muscle. You're actually a being that is spiritual, and then on top of being spiritual, your very essence, the essence of you, it includes the ability to think, the ability to feel, the ability to love, the ability to have a higher consciousness, the ability to tap into the divine, which is that invisible intelligence that suffuses all things in the universe, right? You have that ability. So understanding that, yeah. So, Dora, you funny. I gotta talk to you later. But with all of that, you have this inner self that you have to be knowledgeable of. Like, you have to be aware that inner self is in there, because if not, then you just see yourself as this bone and flesh, and we're just being tossed around by whatever happens, and that's not what's going on. We actually can choose. You are a divine being, and you're divinely guided by forces that are always at work. These forces are at work whether you believe in them or not. You don't have to believe in gravity to know gravity holds you on the ground. These forces are always at work, whether you believe in them or not, whether you acknowledge them or not. They always do what they do. You don't have to. They work independently of you. They don't depend on you to work. This is the thing, though. They answer your prayers 100% of the time. 100%. People say, well, prayers don't always get answered. They always get answered. The problem is you don't always see the answer, right? Because of however your mindset is. It's not that the divine doesn't answer it. That the answers are always coming. The people, the circumstances, the events, and the opportunities always come. They always come. The thing is, you either are in resistant or receptive. You're either receiving it or you're resisting it. You're either accepting it or you're rejecting it. And that's it. The answers are coming. The gifts, the blessings, whatever you want to call them, they show up. And they'll show up whether you are tuned in and you are able to receive them, or they'll show up whether you're not tuned in and you're rejecting them. Now, that's the thing. The divine answers the prayers or requests 100% of the time. The divine doesn't force you to take it. You have to choose. Right? You have to choose to be open to, and you have to choose to receive. And so, as long as you're going to resist, though, here's what you're going to continue to do. You're going to continue to be a prisoner to your attachments. So when you're a prisoner to your attachments, that's why you can't leave that job that you hate, because you're attached to it. You can't leave the job that you hate because you're attached to the job. You're going to stay a prisoner to that because you can't open yourself up to receive the blessings that are coming to you. You understand? So, my aunt used to always say, don't cut God's hand short. Well, when you are in resistance to receiving blessings, that's what you're doing. You're cutting God's hand off. You're saying, I can't take that from you. So you're shortening his ability to reach, or the divine, however you believe it. I try to be generic with these things. You also, you're going to continue to make appearances more important than quality. You know, you're going to make possessions more important than people. You're going to continue to do that. And as long as you keep doing that, you're going to keep getting what you want. You know, you're going to get, I mean, not what you want, well, what you're acting on, right? Because you act on your belief, your thoughts, and your thoughts come from your beliefs. So you're going to continue to chase what you think you want rather than to attract what you need. And it's a funny thing that I would, always say to people, you have to slow down. Because if you slow down and stop chasing what you think you want, you will give what you need time to catch up with you. So when it comes down to attachments, one thing that I would say to a lot of people when I listen to them speaking about, oh, I would do this if I didn't have to do that, or I could do this, but I need to do that first. Be careful. Don't trip over something behind you. Because a lot of times, it's not something in front of you that you're running wide open and go trip over. Most of you tripping over things that are behind you. You're still holding on to things behind you that you can't go for. Let them attachments go and start looking into and leaning into that which you are requesting all the time. You're always requesting something through your thinking. So if you're open, though, listen, if you're open to the idea of, let's say, freedom and abundance, or if you like to explore the possibility of a life without limits or a life without restrictions, if you would like to experience wealth rather than chase paper, if you got like the idea of being able to travel, just different things like that, whatever. If you like the idea of being free to do, be, and have whatever you will do, be, and have, it's up to you. It's nobody that could tell you who and what you are but you. But if you would like to learn how to get paid to simply be you, that's what I get paid for, just to be me. Do these live streams, talk to people, live my life, and go around. That's all I can tell you, right? I can't tell you what I don't know. And the only thing that I can share with you is my experience of applying what I'm telling you. What I'm sharing with you, I wouldn't share something with you that I didn't use. And then all I can do is tell you how it's working for me. And you have to decide for yourself whether or not that is going to be what you're going to do, right? Or that's what you're going to apply. Because once I've told you about it and let you know and made you aware that it's available to you, really, I don't have any other obligation other than, if I'm sponsoring you, then of course my obligation then is to make sure that you understand what you have and how to use it. But once I've told you about it and you then have or have not, I may come back around and say, hey, you really should take a look at this. To a large degree, that's all I can do. I can't do anything about your mindset. And the fact is that most of you reject the opportunity because of your mindset. It has nothing to do with whether or not you see the sense in it. It's just your mindset, right? And so there's nothing I can do about that. That's why I don't get upset. Really, I don't get upset when people don't join. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is it's not for me to care. It's not my I care enough to tell you that it's available to you. I care that much. And the fact is that once I've told you, I can't love you more than you love you. I can't want something more for you than you want it for yourself. I would love for everybody to be free and abundant and have the things that they want to have. But the truth is, I could do no more for you than you're willing to do for yourself. Just like nobody could do more for me than I'm willing to do for myself. We just can't. That's just the way that the divine works, right? And so, but if you would like to have that experience, if you would like to have more, do more, be more, if you want something different, then I would advise you to get back with the person that shared this video with you, and or either reach out to myself, because here's what we're inviting you to is the opportunity to participate in a highly functioning global financial ecosystem, right? So when we're inviting you to participate in this ecosystem, this is a vehicle toward your freedom and your abundance. But again, the system, as powerful as it is, can only be as powerful as your participation in it. You know, it's, you can't register and then do nothing, because the system doesn't work like that, right? The system works when you do. And so again, it goes back to your mindset, because if your mindset tells you that the world is a scarce place, you're not going to act on abundance, you're going to act on scarcity. You're going to act in the direction of your beliefs. It's very important for you to work on and understand where your thoughts are and where you're operating from, regardless to whether you want to do this just in life. Here's the funny thing. We don't experience anything in life that we have not called into our experience, right? You call everything that happens in your life, whether you want to hear it or not, whether you think, you know, this or that, you call every experience you have, good, bad, ugly, whatever, you called it to you. Everything. You requested it. By either omission or submission, you did that. Well, if you're hearing my message, right, it's because you have asked for it. You've asked for a solution, whether that solution has been, I need to make more money, whether you said, I would like to travel more, whether you, well, whatever it is, you've requested it. And that's the answer to your request, right? As all things, not just care for, but anything that comes into your experience, but for that experience, right? You've called for a solution to something that you've been dealing with, right? And that's how things come to you. And then you either accept the answer because it's come to you as an answer to the request. It's come to you as an answer to a prayer, right? And so by that logic, either you are, it's not even logic, this is just the way, this is just universal law, really. So when it comes to you, you are either going to reject it or receive it, right? Because it came. The person that's sharing it with you, me or whoever, one of the business partners, whoever's sharing it with you, is simply, they're just the chosen delivery method, okay? So say, for instance, like say you ordered a jacket. You ordered anything, something from online, and it says delivery method. It has down there U.S. mail or UPS or whatever. You choose the delivery method so that whatever it is that you've ordered now can come to you. So it's the same with this information. You sent out the request for some solution to something that you perceive to be an issue in your life. The divine says, oh, I have the perfect thing that will fit you. And then we cross paths, or you happen to see a post, or whatever the case may be, and you see a video or whatever. And that's the answer. But the answer doesn't look like you think it should look, so you reject it. Or the answer doesn't say what you wanted to say, so you reject it, and then you miss the opportunity. The answer came. You just rejected it. You know, and that's what happens a lot of times. That's why I don't get upset when people don't do it. I understand that either they're not ready yet, they requested it, but a lot of times you can be, y'all have heard me say it before, you can be assigned but not yet appointed. So I just tell myself, they have to come because they call me, right? They have to come because they call the information into their lives. Whether or not they're ready to receive it it's not, that's not my call to make. All my job is to do is to respond to the call. It's to respond to the inspiration. It's to respond to the divine urging to share the information. It's not to